Good evening, Shabbos Yisrael. I hope all are well and stay so. Some of the Mefarshim find fault with Noach. There's the floodwaters in the Haftarah described as Kimei Noach Zosli, as the floodwaters are Noach's floodwaters, says the Zayach Kaddish, because Noach didn't do as much as he should have. He didn't reach out to his generation and try to encourage them to do tshuva. He was a tzaddik in pelts. The Medrash strongly disagrees with this understanding. Teaches the Medrash Psikta, the Psikta Rabbah, the reason why Noach's name is repeated twice. Eile taldos Noach. Noach ish tzaddik hayot tamim hayabedarasav. That's Noach is repeated twice because according to the Medrash, he was Noach lamakam and Noach lebrius. He was pleasing and pleasant to Hashem, but also equally pleasing and pleasant to his fellow human being. He didn't ignore them. He reached out to them and tried to set them straight. It tried to encourage them to do tshuva. In fact, the Medrash Rabbah records that reconstructing Noach's conversation, Noach would tell the people of his time, Reikim, silly, foolish people, Lama atem enichim mishakolosh avarozim. Why are you ignoring the Almighty, whose very voice can break the strongest of cedars? You're bowing down, you're serving of silly idols, dry pieces of wood. Noach did not ignore the people of his generation. That's according to the Midrashim. And yet, the Psukim tell us that they were all punished. The floodwaters are still referred to as the floodwaters of Noach. Explains Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, Noach, yes, chastised the people of his generation. He gave tochecha, he reached out, but the mistake was the topic or topics that he addressed. Instead of giving them musar, instead of chastising them, how come you're not more religious? Why are you more from? Why are you worshiping Avodah Zarah? He missed out on their biggest avera, and that is the dishonesty, the deceit, the theft, both large and small, which is why the Chumash tells us ultimately, Vayomer Elokim l'Noach kates kol basar bo lefanai, ki mal'ah ha'aretz chamas mipneihem. Says Rashi, the land is filled with dishonesty, with chamas. Says Rashi, lo nechtam gzardinam ella al hagezel. All the other averos, the main sin, the main shortcoming was the theft, was the dishonesty. Noach gave Moser, he didn't ignore, not like the Zohar, that was a tzaddik in pelts. According to the Midrashim, Noach did chastise. He was Noach lamakam and he was Noach lebrius. However, his mistake and the reason why ultimately the floodwaters in the Haftarah, Kimei Noach Zosli, are referred to as the floodwaters of Noach, is because although he did give the tocha, he did try to reach out. His emphasis was misplaced. Instead of focusing on the avodah zarah, the idolatry, his greater emphasis should have been on the dishonesty, on the theft. It's not just pointing out shortcomings and working to try to make people more religious. You have to make sure that our focus is on the correct topics. Have a great Shabbos.